Here I want to show you our newest integration for one of our observability partners, Dynatrace. In the Dynatrace Hub, you can search for Stonebranch and click on the tile card in order to install or configure the extension if it is already installed. The extension contains all the information like entity mappings and feature sets. You can also look up the metrics that will be ingested by the extension, and it also has a selection for the release notes, for upcoming releases and what has changed. Once the extension is added, you can configure it directly in the Dynatrace Hub screen, or later on change the configuration in the extension 2.0 screen. The view will be the same. As a prerequisite, it is required that there is a user with sufficient permission available to reach the controller Prometheus endpoint. For the configuration, we will deploy the extension on Dynatrace ActiveGate. We will add a configuration, choose ActiveGate, and after choosing our ActiveGate, we need to give a Prometheus endpoint of a controller we want to observe. The default endpoint will be at /uc/resources/metrics. In our case, we forgo the UC and have directly the endpoint at resources metrics. Below, you need to give authentication of your user that has access to the endpoint. For this, we have the user credentials inside of the Dynatrace credential vault, and we'll use these credentials. On the next page, you can give a description of what your extension's configuration is supposed to do. And below, you see the feature set. There you can again see what metrics should be ingested, will be ingested, and if you want, you can turn these off if you don't need them. Here's an example of the universal controller metrics that are being ingested. Once configured, you will see the status in pending. The Dynatrace extension is bundled together with a dashboard. To see it, head over to the Dashboards tab and look for ready-made dashboards. By filtering for the extension tabs or searching the documents for Stonebranch, you will see the Stonebranch UC dashboard. Taking a look at the Stonebranch UC dashboard, we will see a summary of all the universal controllers connected, as well as the database, agent, and DOMS. Below, there's also a task overview, which is controller specific, which by choosing the controller on top, you can change the view to see more details about what specific controller is doing what. Inside of this dashboard, we also have the access to navigate to entities. For example, the list of all workflow and tasks that have been run and been ingested into Dynatrace. Here we see a list of all the tasks and workflows that have been ingested. And on the top right, we can also change the time frame from which time we want to see it. I would choose the last 30 days. If we click on a task, for example, like this Azure OpenAI task, we will now see more detailed information. For example, the business service group or the task instance statuses of previously run task instances. If we head back to the dashboard, we can also see the same an entity for the universal controller. This will give us a more detailed view outside of dashboards, inside of Dynatrace. By clicking on universal controller instances, we have a list of all the universal controllers connected to the Dynatrace instance. In this example, there are two, and we'll take a look at one of them. Here we once again see a detailed list of the workflows that have been run, as well as what universal agents connected to this machine. Below there are also some universal controller metrics to round off your observability needs. You can also take a look at the universal agent that is here. There we can see the task types that have been run by this agent, and in which status they've fulfilled. Once again, we can change the time frame and see that over the last 30 days, there have been over 15,000 tasks run.